Well, good day, everyone. It could be morning, could be afternoon, could be evening when you're watching this. So again, I say good day to you. And thanks for tuning in for daily devotions. During my years of pastoral ministry and having staff meetings, I try to do different things for the staff. And I have a book that I have been using and reading just recently. It's called Leadership Prayers. And each chapter, it's actually written by a college president, and he has written down some prayers and some thoughts about leadership. And this is one of the prayers that I read to our staff a few weeks ago, and one that kind of resonated in my own heart because it has to do with fear. So let me read you this prayer, and then let me share a story with you today for our daily devotions. And I begin by a simple verse, as the writer puts it down in Isaiah 41:10. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. Our writer says this. I've told you many times what my heart longs for, God. I want all of our research and planning, all of our hopes and dreams, all of our extra work, and all of our sacrifices, our prayers, and our sincere motives. I want them to produce a great result. I want us to succeed. I want us to reach the goals that we set. I want us to exceed them. I want all these people to share the roaring ecstasy of success. I want them to gain confidence and believe in themselves and believe in the way that we went about it. Most of all, I want people to believe in you, God. I want people to say, wow, this is amazing. Look what God did. I want people to praise you for this accomplishment, because they know that I'm trying to do what you want. But I wonder if you're going to do it. I talked with you about this all along the way, and I did my best to understand what you wanted us to do. Still, I worry that you might do something else, something that's unexpected. You know that I do not want anything less than your best for me or for this organization. But what will happen if this fails? Maybe you have lessons you need to teach me through failure. Maybe the process is more important than the outcome. Maybe this is just a small part of something much bigger that is not yet apparent to me. Maybe success will lead to problems I cannot foresee. I do not fear the odds or the competition. I trust your power. I am not afraid you will hurt me. I trust your goodness and your wisdom. I am more afraid of embarrassment. I'm afraid of failing. That will make me feel stupid, and others might doubt me. If this thing we're trying to do fails, maybe I need to step aside. Maybe you're signaling that we need someone else to lead. Do not let this fail because of me, God. Get me out of the way if you have to, but God, please, let people know success and let them know that you are God. You are my God, and this is your work. And I know that you care about our success and our failure. I will give you my fear if you will give me your peace. I admit, I'm afraid you won't do what I expect. So God, give me your peace and let me trust you. I love the different prayers that this author has written. They've captured moments in our lives where we're either weary or tired, we're afraid. And this one just very fearful about wanting God to do something. And what if it doesn't happen the way we expect? I expect that you have probably been there, where you've hoped for something, you've prayed for something, you've waited for something. And you've said, oh God, what if it doesn't happen? And so we get into that mode of being afraid. Let me share with you a story as I kind of wrap up our time together. Many of you have noticed through the preaching of COVID, my coffee mug that I have in front of me every week. And it says, of course, keep calm and carry on. That coffee mug has meaning to me. And I know some of you might recall the story behind that saying, but in case you missed it, let me just remind you. That saying, keep calm and carry on, was actually written on a poster printed in 1939 by the British government back during World War II. 2.5 million posters were printed. Red with a white lettering, and it had the royal crown on it that said, "Keep calm and carry on." 2.5 million posters were printed. It was actually one of 3 posters. There was a set of 3. One of the posters said this: your courage, your cheerfulness, your resolution will bring us victory. And the other one said, "Freedom is in peril. Defend it with all your might." Now, what's interesting about these posters is that they knew that 2 of them existed, because the 2 I just read to you, the "your courage, your cheerfulness" one, and the "freedom is in peril," those posters were printed off, again, with millions of them being printed, and were plastered all over the city, the streets, the countrysides of Britain. Anywhere in England, anywhere in London, where there was a fence, a house, a tree, a post, these posters were put there to keep the morale up, to keep people, energized, to remind them that they could win the battle and not to be afraid. All these posters were put up. But this last one, the one on the coffee cup, "Keep calm and carry on," people didn't really even know that it existed, because it was printed apparently, but never put out. In fact, they only knew of its existence, or remembered its existence, because a copy of one of these posters was actually found back in the year 2000. A fellow that owned a private bookstore was going through some old books in the basement and found a copy of this poster. And since that time, they found others, but they didn't even know it existed until they found this copy in the year 2000. They began to wonder about it and found out that it was part of a set of 3, and that these were meant to bring the morale up of the people of England, and the other 2 were posted out, but couldn't figure out why this 3rd one wasn't done. So they tracked down someone, and this was back some years ago now, who the fellow has now since died, but they found one of the key people that were part of the producing of these posters, and could give them some insight. And they went and asked about them, and they found out exactly these posters were produced to build the morale of people when morale was down, when they feel like they are afraid or feel like losing hope, that these posters would be put up. But they asked the question that said, "But the 3rd one, why wasn't the 3rd one ever put up?" Now, before I give you the answer, I just want you to remember some things. London specifically went through the Great Blitz in World War II. Now, let me give you the description of the Blitz. 11 weeks. In 11 weeks, there were nightly air raids designed to crush the British people. On the first night alone, 2,000 people were killed or wounded. During those 11 weeks with nightly raids, every single night, planes went in the air and bombed London. During the 11 weeks, 32,000 people were killed. 87,000 people were seriously injured. In London alone, 60% of all of the homes, that's over 2 million homes, were all destroyed. Food and clothes were rationed. Grocery stores no longer existed. The supply chain was broken. Food had to be passed out and parceled out and rationed out by trucks, because people couldn't get to grocery stores, or they didn't exist. They went through the Blitz, 11 weeks of bombing. Total hopelessness. They asked this gentleman, why weren't the posters ever put out? And then he said this about this last poster: "Keep calm and carry on." He said this last poster that was done, this was meant to be put out only if all hope was lost. This one was only going to go out if everything seemed lost and that there was no hope for the future. Then we would put this one out. And then he said this, "And thank goodness it never got to a point where we lost all hope." I read about what happened in the Blitz, 11 weeks, and I think of him saying, "Oh, thank goodness, we never got to a place where all hope was ever lost." And so the posters never got put up. Friend, I just want to remind you, whatever you might deal with today, whatever you're dealing with in your life, keep calm and carry on, not because it's a nice trite saying, but because we have God. And because we have God, and He is our God, then you don't have to fear. Hope is never lost, for we have a great God. So whether you're listening to this devotion or watching it this morning, or you're watching it at night, I hope you have had or will have a great day. Don't be afraid. God bless you.